All right, folks, this is going to be an emergency market warning, especially for the XRP community, but for the broader markets as well. I believe that we're getting suckered in to a bull trap rally based off of the positive news that we have avoided default. Tonight, it is June 1st, 2023. I'm recording this late night, 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, and this will be set to run first thing tomorrow morning. But we did pass in the Senate our debt ceiling deal. It's going to be arriving at Joe Biden's office. Hopefully he can make his way in to get it signed, I guess. And the markets are celebrating. Folks are celebrating. The markets are celebrating. People wanted this relief rally and this bullish moment that we're all going to get to participate in, I believe, is suckering in people to something nasty that's coming our way. I'm going to break that down further. We got a full update for you guys coming, current events, cryptocurrency, and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. Right now, at the time of this recording, like I said, 10 o'clock on the West Coast, late night, June 1st, 2023, 27,000 for your Bitcoin, 1888 for your Ethereum, and XRP's at 51 cents. Back up again slightly. We can see XRP right here on the sticks, back up again, 51, pressing on 52 cents. Let's see what it does. And I have some special secret sauce TA for you guys at the end of this session. And you guys are going to want to watch out for this one because we found something on the charts where XRP, last time it did this was in 2020. And then the time before was 2016. We saw a 50% drop. So that TA is coming for you guys at the end. We got to watch this one closely here, folks. Full update, though. Let's get started off here. The debt ceiling deal. It took the U.S. 227 years to add the first $8 trillion in debt. Now we have added $8 trillion in debt over the last 3 years alone. A debt ceiling bill is being passed, which will put the federal debt near $36 trillion by 2025. By 2033, nearly 25% of government revenue will go towards interest expense. At some point, we have to ask, what is the long-term plan here? And this is what I'm talking about. I put out a video tonight, a little TikTok, a little YouTube short, where I'm talking about how what's good for politicians and politics and what's bullish for the markets is going to be fatal for the U.S. dollar. And that is the debt ceiling deal that's just been passed, continuing to kick the can down the road, and no long-term plan to address the real, $250 trillion elephant in the room, which is the balance sheet of the United States, the unfunded liabilities, not just the debt, but all of the liabilities combined equaling a couple $100 trillion, much more than the 30 trillion that, the debt limit that we've currently reached. But when you look at the overall balance sheet, the over 150 trillion, some estimates put it well over 200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. This is what we've racked up, and there is no way out, right? Nobody has a plan for this. They're not even addressing this. And so now we see this debt ceiling bill passes. There's no limit. There's no cap over the next 2 years. They just get to run it up for the next 2 years. So Joe and gang, Joe and team, they can run it up, they can funnel it, they can do whatever they want with it. And we roll on over here. Octavia Costa, the U.S. will need to refinance almost half of its national debt in the less than 2 years. So in the next 2 years, we have to refinance almost half of our national debt. Let's not forget that interest rates were at 0% just 15 months ago. Wait until these debt instruments need to be rolled over at 5% rates. One thing is true, none of us own enough hard assets. Amen. Amen. Marketable government debt by maturity and percentage of total. This is looking ugly, folks. This is looking bad. And this is the case for many Americans too. We just crossed $1 trillion in overall credit card debt here in the United States, and that's growing, and we are at record high interest rates as well. So the debt service cost is going to drain Main Street. It's going to drain you and your family. You got to be prepared for that. We need to get out of credit right now. We should only be in good debt that covers cash flowing assets, because right now they're going to squeeze us. And the fact of the matter is they've been completely lying about all of this economic data. When you look through it, when you go back and you look at the revisions that they're making, the devil is in the details. Remember all of those articles about strong jobs and wages are why the Fed has been raising rates? It was all fake. The Bureau of Labor Statistics revisions show a massive decline in the data since Q4 2022. All of the data has been faked. All of it's smoke and mirrors. They're still debating whether or not we're in a recession. We've been pounding our fist on the table, trying to warn people, trying to tell folks that inflation's not going away. We are in a recession. God willing, we will be lucky to avoid a depression. The worst thing that we have right now is a stagflationary recession, where the prices are still going up, but we are experiencing a recession in the real economy. So people are losing their jobs. It's getting tighter out there because prices continue up. Stagflationary recession is what we are now experiencing. And the rest of the world is asking for a solution. The rest of the world doesn't have the opportunity to kick the can down the road any longer because they don't have the largest military known to man and they don't have the reserve currency. We're taking advantage of that while we still can, but the rest of the world isn't going along with that program. Brazilian president calls for creation of a common currency for South American trade. A common currency for trade. The trend is here. It's not going away. And with the politicians in D.C. who use their constituents back home, who want to see us pass a bill so that we can provide necessary funding for all of this program and that program and send money to this country. And, oh, you were offended? Let's cut you a check. Okay? It's absolutely ridiculous how they try to get this sympathy for what they're doing in the DC dance over there. It's absolutely ridiculous. And like we've been saying, they are not acknowledging that the rest of the world's done with our dollar. They are done trading with the dollar. They're done holding our treasuries, and they no longer are buying our BS, right? And so what we have here in the United States is politicians that aren't stupid. They understand that. They see what's happening, but they've been bought and paid for. And this is a controlled demolition, and this is the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. But a better way to put this so that people understand it and it's vividly, people can really get this picture. This is one of the greatest wealth heists we'll ever see in our lifetimes, folks, where the money, the wealth, the assets will transfer from the middle class and the poor. What little assets you have, you're going to be stripped of those. You're going to lose those because now the government's offering, and this is a side tangent, but the government's offering new programs for the FHA borrowers where they will now pay up to, I think, 30% of your bills, 40% of your bills, and they will wrap those bills in a secondary mortgage loan. So you won't have to pay, a few $100 on your mortgage. A few $100 can go towards your bills. You get wrapped up in a new mortgage. You tie that in with the 40-year mortgages. You tie that in with the 1% down payments. All of these programs are being offered to people who already couldn't afford the existing mortgage, and now they're getting wrapped in worse deals. See, what these folks are seeing is, oh, wow, I get to save a few $100 a month, without realizing what's happening on the back end of this loan. And people are, you would think this is insane, right? Our audience, very tapped in, very smart, financially savvy. You would think, what moron would sign on to this, right? Some of these folks, their payments are actually increasing by hundreds of dollars per month, but they think that they're saving money because the government through FHA programs now is going to pay for some of your bills. All of these new programs to try to get people into houses and to try to save the people who have been in forbearance programs who can't afford the houses that they're in is only further kicking the can down the road. Now, we continue on here, though, and we see the rest of the world is moving ahead with or without us. The common currency, they're moving to precious metals to back the currencies. They're moving to real commodities. And then you see this right here. MiCA, the EU's landmark new crypto regulation, was formally signed into law today. So it's accelerating quickly now, folks. We're no longer asking ourselves, when is this going to happen? When are regulations here? The regulations are here, and you're about to see the lawsuit of the century in this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit conclude. And we have some big things on the way. Linda P. Jones says this. Good analysis, reasons why I think it will IPO sooner. So this conversation is about Ripple IPO. This person right here, Crypto Sasha, says, I definitely agree. $100 to $150 billion valuation from current $34 to $35 a share is very realistic valuation. 15 to 20x ROI and a price of $600 is appropriate and maybe even on the lower end. My high price target is $250 billion valuation. And by 2030, I think we will be another $1 trillion company, just like NVIDIA just did. I also think the IPO will not be until late 2024 or first half of 2025, as it is not the best market condition for IPO in the next 12 to 18 months. Recession, low access to cash, company valuations are lower, assigned multiple PE ratio on lower side. Expect Ripple IPO late 2024, early 2025, and by then 600 per share valuation may be low, balling it. Just my opinion, being an M&A side of business. Okay, and Linda P. Jones says, good analysis, reasons why I think that the IPO will be sooner. So it's now been revealed that Ripple has actually been doing a private roadshow meeting with analysts in April 2023. And the word on the street is that you had all of the biggest investment banks and all of the who's who of Wall Street showing up to get pitched by Ripple. Okay, so that's in preparation of an IPO. That's why you do that. Private roadshow meeting with the biggest and the best in Wall Street. Only companies that don't need cash can IPO in a bad IPO market. And she cites that Ripple is still sitting on over $1 billion cash. Ripple being a company that can afford to IPO in a bad market because they don't necessarily need the cash. 3, the momentum. The end of the lawsuit will create strong demand. So I do agree here. I think that this thing is coming rather quickly. I just put out another little TikTok actually before firing this up. On my honest opinion on the case, guys. My honest opinion is that this case is done. We're just waiting for the announcement. And I think that many people are going to get left behind. Many people are going to be shocked, not just when they see the Hinman emails, but when they see that this case is over or settled up, or we get a ruling from the judge that is favorable for XRP, at least giving it clarity for the most part. Some sales done by Ripple might be worth a settlement that they've already done with the SEC. The posture from Brad and Ripple is clear. The acquisitions, the developments is clear. They are pressing forward. They are not only continuing to succeed with their partnerships and their growth, but they're literally acquiring the other folks in the space that are going to be critical infrastructure layers to this whole new financial system. And I'm talking about the acquisition of Medico, obviously. So we look at this one from the Baron of Beach Street. Citi partners with Medico. Citi does $4 trillion a day in 144 different currencies in 160 different countries. Ripple acquires Medico recently for $250 million. One of many reasons the case is over. Now here it's let's take a look at this proof here. Citi Group put out this post last year, June of 2022. Citi partners with Medico to develop institutional digital asset custody capabilities. So folks, what this means, when you buy a company, you're buying their partnerships, you're buying their clients, you're buying their relationships. This effectively means that Ripple is now partnered with Citigroup because Ripple owns Medico. So that means that Ripple is now partnered with Citi since Citi tapped into Medico to develop institutional digital asset custody capabilities. So not only did this news get dropped right after the Ledger news, everyone in retail, everyone in the crypto space trying to figure out where the heck is my crypto at? Where am I storing this thing? And just like they perfectly always do, Ripple comes out with the solution, problem, reaction, solution, Ripple ready to go. And they announce an acquisition after they've just announced that they spent $200 million on their legal fees fighting the SEC. Well, we do have another $250 million to acquire this company out of Switzerland, which is also critical because that's where the elite keep all their wealth, big players over there. And so this acquisition is critical, and it shows that we now are in a direct partnership with Citigroup. So that is the developments and the continuing success here on behalf of Ripple. We get further breakdown here from Nick, Crypto Crusader. If you follow Ripple XRP, you might want to read the following. So we all know Volante, right? You know, the same Volante that works with 125 banks, financial institutions, market infrastructures, clearinghouses, and corporate treasuries in 35 countries. Oh, also the same Volante that solutions and services processes millions of transactions and trillions in value every day, powering 4 of the top 5 corporate banks, 40% of all U.S. commercial bank deposits, and 75% of worldwide card traffic. Well, this is what they have to say about Ripple in their guide to banks and financial institutions regarding ISO 222 migration. What's even crazier is that Volante recently extended their collaboration with Citi for global ISO 222 migration. The dots have been getting connected with Citi and Ripple ever since the Medico acquisition. I find this very interesting. Volante Citi announcement there, and this is the document from Volante. They say, this is in regards to ISO 222 migration and Ripple. Sitting at the heart of that change will be ISO 20022. The standard will bring together disparate systems, standards, and methods from across the globe and tie them together. No greater example of this can be found than in that of Ripple. The perennial Swift competitor announced in May 2020 that it would be joining the ISO 20022 standard bodies as its first member based on distributed ledger technology. So let me reread that again for you guys. No greater example of this can be found than in that of Ripple. That is Volante. And so you guys see where this goes. Ripple adds Facebook, MasterCard, and Citibank veteran to leadership team. So another connection to Citibank and MasterCard Facebook connections as well. This is Kahina Van Dyke to the leadership team as the new Senior Vice President of Business and Corporate Development. The banking and technology veteran will focus on driving new strategic partnerships for Ripple across the global financial services industry. So there you have it. Van Dyke most notably led global teams at traditional financial institutions like MasterCard and Citibank. However, she most recently served as the leader of Facebook's global financial services team. So there you have it, further connections, and the dots are being connected, and folks are starting to realize just how big of a deal this Medico acquisition was. At the time when we first saw this, we said this is major just based off the fact that it's in Switzerland, just based off the fact that Ripple still has $250 million to acquire an institutional grade custody solution. The other thing that Medico is working on too is tokenizing an internet of value. So that'll work in tandem with Ripple. Ripple going from about 800 employees, they're adding another 100 with Medico, and then they get to take on partnerships and existing relationships like that of Citigroup. So folks, this is absolutely major, and this is in the middle of an SEC lawsuit too, right? Now we move on over to XRP Ledger developments. Let's take a listen here. Vite Vin. Why is it always the Ethereum virtual machine ecosystems coming up with new cool features and ideas? And why is the XRP Ledger always playing catch up? Because of smart contracts. You don't have to change the entire blockchain protocol. You get a blank canvas, come up with a new feature, and build it. I've been around in the XRPL ecosystem long enough to be certain it's not because of a lack of brains and creativity by XRPL devs. It's insanely hard to write core XRPL code. Even harder to get your idea merged by Ripple X Dev. Close to impossible to get it voted in. So how can XRP Ledger Protocol chains lead instead of play catch up with the latest crypto DeFi fad and retail features? By giving XRP Ledger Protocol devs a blank canvas for their ideas and creativity as well. And at XRPL Labs, we've built just that. Hooks. With hooks, developers can add their own logic and state to accounts on XRP Ledger Protocol chains with hooks enabled. Better key management, compliant features, enterprise features, games automation, limited signing delegation, one implementation to rule them all. I like that one. One implementation to rule them all, just like one coin to rule them all. Almost half a year ago, we published a blog about hooks. Hooks aren't just an idea. The technology exists today on our Hooks v3 testnet. The Hooks amendment is coming. We just finished a full Hooks securities audit by Go FYEO report to be published soon. We're working with compliance and legal to get a Hooks-enabled sidechain running. The chain will be there to stay complementary to the XRP Ledger. It will launch with Hooks enabled from Ledger 1. No ICO, no airdrop. We're not leeching, we're expanding the ecosystem. End of the thread. And a huge shout out to Vite Vin. God bless these guys over at XRPL Labs, creating real utility for the XRP Ledger, and we absolutely love to see it. Smart contracts capability coming to the XRP Ledger is what we need, and when we get it, and when we get this updated version of hooks, folks, you're about to see utility get unlocked. The smart contracts are going to take XRP to a whole nother reality, because remember, we've just been a liquidity token up to this point, and I've always said that that was the right thing to do. You solve scalability efficiently and the ability for throughput. We want to be able to throughput tens of thousands of transactions per second. We've achieved that through sidechains, through private ledgers. We can actually do hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. So we have all the throughput in the world that we need. Now we bring in smart contracts, and we bring in the ability to allow the creativity of the XRP Ledger community to flourish. This is what's coming. I'm so excited. And, I've been trying to cover anybody who's building real utility in the space. I'm trying to get them on my show. I'm trying to give them a spotlight for the very few and far between projects that are legitimate, solving a real problem, and bringing utility to the XRP Ledger. We've been trying to cover them all. And so now we have the automated market makers that are coming as well. This is going to be absolutely massive. David Schwartz sharing this tweet on the AMMs. For those who want to understand an automated market maker trading strategy and may find the math too complex to follow, here's a grossly oversimplified way to understand how the trading strategy works. Say you have an asset that's volatile but no significant long-term trend. That is, its price changes a lot but doesn't really move up or down very much. That means the movement you typically see is an excursion in price followed by a return in price. He gives a few examples, gives some more examples. If you have an asset whose volatility exceeds its long-term trend, the average percentage movement will be positive. If the long-term trend is negative, that just reduces the average somewhat. If the long-term trend is positive, that increases it somewhat. It's not difficult to implement a trading strategy whose yield tracks the average percentage movement of the stock. For example, buying some amount of a stock, then always buying or selling the stock to keep the value of your holdings constant has that property. The trading strategy an automated market maker implements, though more complex than that simple one, also has this property of harvesting volatility. Note that this analysis only works for an AMM between an asset that's fixed in price and an asset whose price is volatile enough to overwhelm its long-term trend. AMMs work even when those constraints aren't met, but their behavior is different. Generally, it's still pretty good as long as there isn't a long-term negative price movement that exceeds the volatility. So as long as there's not a negative price movement that exceeds the volatility, the AMM should work, right? It should pencil out. Now, I wanted to scroll down here because there is okay, maybe I missed it. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Okay. Jack from Casino Coin. We just had Jack from Casino Coin on just a couple weeks ago. He says, here's a grossly oversimplified way to understand AMM. Massive wall of text, laughing emoji. And David Schwartz responds. He says, okay, here's an even simpler one. And you guys know me. I like the KISS principle. I like to keep it very simple. That breakdown that David gave was a lot. But in simple terms, AMMs charge fees when they trade. Volatility causes people to trade with the AMM. Thus, AMMs turn volatility into fees. This is an even grosser oversimplification. So there you have it, folks. Basically, what these are doing is this is a trading program that trades volatility of an asset. So we're going to be able to set these up. We're going to be able to build out our own liquidity pools, our own automated market makers, and it's going to be up to us to build them out in a way where long-term negative price movement does not exceed the volatility. Because like David said, as long as that's not the case, these automated market makers are basically just capturing the fee off of the trading that happens from the volatility of said asset. Now, what's also interesting about this is he says, generally, it's still pretty good as long as there isn't He says, note that this analysis only works for an AMM between an asset that's fixed in price and an asset whose price is volatile enough to overwhelm its long-term trend. So it makes me think, is XRP, how well are you going to be able to use XRP in this? Because, and how this actually gets implemented, I'm still trying to figure out, because you could have XRP against the dollar, but you have two volatile assets, right? The dollar is always moving in price. The XRP is always moving in price. I guess as long as long-term negative price movement does not exceed the volatility, you would be set. But I'm still trying to learn more about how this actually gets implemented and setting up my own liquidity pool. But we're going to be looking into that further. And the point being, folks, is that we have the hooks coming. We have the automated market makers. This is all of the DeFi that the rest of the space had that gave Ethereum, and all of these, the token factory that was created in Ethereum was based off of these automated market makers, was based off of this DeFi. Now it's coming to the XRP ledger, better late than never, and it's coming to a ledger that can actually scale up and handle, and it's not going to have any downtime. These different things that are being brought to the ledger aren't going to crash it. It's going to be able to stand it, and that's what's important. Now, to finish off, folks, this is the emergency warning to the XRP community. I know we all are getting our hopes up right now. And like I said, the same thing's taking place with the overall stock market, having its little relief rally, and this is a bullish moment based off of the fact that we signed the debt ceiling deal. That's fine. Have your little moment. What this is, though, is fatal to the US dollar. This is the death of the dollar. It confirms the trajectory of where they're going with their agenda and how they don't care about sacrificing the middle class and poor. Okay, we got that. But the other setup that we're seeing is something that we've seen twice now for the XRP price action over the last few years. And I'm going to show you guys this. We found this one from EG Reg Crypto. And now I know a lot of people, they like the TA guys, they don't like the TA guys. I don't care. If they find something interesting on the chart that's worth noting, I'm going to make a note of that. And that's why I'm sharing this with you guys. And because if we do get a 50% drop, I want you guys to be prepared. Because for me right now, the only thing that puts XRP in its own reality is this SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, and no one knows when it's going to end. Does it look good? Is the posture from Brad and Ripple fantastic? Yes, they look better than ever. And the acquisitions show where this thing's going. The train has left the station, and we're just going to continue to dominate this space as we grow out more institutional more infrastructure for this new financial system. Ripple XRP playing a key part. We get this. We're about to win this lawsuit. It's great. But we found something here on the chart, EG Reg Crypto, and I'm going to show you guys this. XRP Gaussian channel just flipped green. Based on historical data, we can see that there have been two instances when the Gaussian, we can see that there's been two instances when the Gaussian channel flipped green and the XRP price was within the upper half of the channel. The first time this occurred was in November 2016, and the second time was in October 2020. In my opinion, it is unlikely that this is a false signal, unless there is some unexpected ruling in the Ripple vs. SEC case. However, it is worth noting that in comparison to the 2016 scenario, the price dropped by 50% from the top range to the lower range before the big boom. So we have the big boom coming for XRP, but we still could see another 50% clean us out move. Let's take a look at this chart here, folks. So you see these little yellow points. This is when we flip the Gaussian channel, flip green, based off of when the XRP price was in the upper half of this channel. Now, guys, remember, I'm not a TA expert. I had never even heard of this signal indicator, the Gaussian channel, until EG Reg brought this up. But if we find something interesting here on the charts, I am going to share it with you guys. What we see here, you guys see it back in 2016. You see how it did a drop? This is when it did that 50% drop from the top of the channel back down, 50% drop before that massive explosion. That what was it? 30,000% explosion in price. The big boom. Now, we did the same thing, though, back in October 2020, where we did not crash. We stayed above the upper level of this Gaussian channel, and then that's when we took off. And, we did take off, but then we did retrace back to the bottom of this channel, and then we sent it again. I don't know how big of a drop that was, but we did send it thereafter. Now you see we've done the same thing. The first time since 2020, the time before that was 2016. We crashed 50% before we went up 30,000%. Folks, you guys know where we've been at. We've been stacking this thing for years, and we're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. We're just going to continue, because when I see that they signed a deal with the devil in this debt ceiling deal, I understand what this means. This is the death of the dollar. Will we ever get an official default? An official technical default? Probably not. But they are going to have to reset, restructure, and revalue this currency, our debt, before this all gets said and done. And they will destroy the value of that dollar before they have to finally do it. They will kick the can down the road as long as they can. The only thing that stops this is the rest of the world, is me and you taking all of our fiat funny money and we transfer it into real assets like XRP and silver. You guys can go to my website and take advantage of this while you can. We have a weekly special that's running with our partners at Miles Franklin. So take advantage of that while you can. The weekly special right now is a great one. Check it out. And then we also can help you roll over your 401k retirement account to precious metals. Get in touch with us. It's all over at my website. You also can sign up to join our investment community. That is our Discord group. And you might want to get in, because I'm telling you guys right now, we're bringing a lot of value in our community. We're moving into the next phase of this deal where we start to pool our assets together. We know that inevitable events like XRP, getting clarity in this lawsuit, getting a victory, getting set free, and where that's going to take us. That is only one part of the transfer of wealth, though. What we now move on to is building our businesses and investing in real estate. How can we put our money together, private equity, and we will put our money into funds that will move, and we will be able to access better opportunities than we would just by ourselves. That's the beautiful thing that we're creating out right now. But then in the meantime, this weekend, this Saturday, we're having our next real estate call. You guys are going to want to check in for this one because I have my good friend Johnny, who has been an expert and a real estate investor for decades now. And he is someone who's still making money, still making moves in the middle of this bear market recession. We want to partner up. We want to get educated. We want to get alongside folks that are still having cash flow during these times and still getting deals done. My man Johnny is going to break it down this Saturday in our Discord weekly call. We're going to be going over real estate. So guys, get in while you can. You just head on over to my website. You get the link to Patreon. Sign up for Patreon. That gets you access to the Discord group where you can join us in the investment community. It is a family over there. And this family that we're building over there, we're going to be building out our own funds to move on business opportunities, to move on real estate. I hope that you would join us and consider the opportunity here. It's absolutely amazing to see our growth over the last 2 years and to see where we're going to go over the next few years. It's going to be amazing. And I just can't wait to see where we go with our group. It's incredible. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap up this session. On the way out, if you guys could smash that thumbs up for me, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content, and I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all.